What's going on, guys? It's Rahman. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and if you're not, hopefully the news of a brand new signature sneaker leak makes it a little bit better, because the past couple of days the KD12 leaked online, and today Kevin Durant took to his Instagram story and posted a kind of sorta official image of the KD12. So we're gonna be breaking it all down in this video. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the not so great, the I don't know about that, the oh my gosh, I'm looking really forward to that. Everything you need to know about the KD12 will be broken down in this video. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing that I noticed about the KD12 was actually on the medial side of the sneaker, which is the inside part of the shoe. You can see that there's some words and some branding there, kind of near the midfoot, kind of close to the collar area. It says quad axle flywire multi-directional dynamic containment. Now, what quad axle flywire is, I really don't know. I don't think I've ever used a shoe, or if we've ever seen a shoe that uses this particular type of branding or technology. However, the Adapt BBs, when they were launching those, a lot of the same wording, quad axle flywire, multi-directional containment, was used to explain the Adapt BB's self-lacing technology. Now, obviously the KD12s have traditional laces, so they're not going to use a self-lacing system like the Adapt BBs, but you can kind of see the symmetry between different silhouettes that Nike Basketball is using between their different models. Now, the KD12's quad axle flywire, again, I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks like it's either fused or it's an underlay into that textile upper. And it looks like it's gonna provide flywire support that we all know and love in multiple directions. Traditionally with flywire, it just goes up and down. It's attached to the midsole, integrated into the lacing system. But here on the KD12s, it looks like Nike mapped out strategically where the flywire should go. So it's gonna provide dynamic containment in multiple directions while being extremely lightweight, because that's exactly what flywire has to offer. Now, this has me really excited, because my first thought when I saw these was, these are going to be extremely lightweight. If they could find ways to add support and stability to the KD12 without sacrificing weight, that's gonna be awesome. And flywire is already light. And the fact that flywire is used throughout the whole sneaker here, you can see throughout the entire upper, you have that quad axle flywire system. I think these are going to be extremely light, at least up top. They might be bottom heavy. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but up top, they should be extremely light, because if you look at the upper, there isn't a whole lot of overlays. It's almost like a one-piece upper. There is a little bit of stitching near the heel, but for the most part, it's just a textile upper, which is a pretty light material in itself. It's not Flyknit, which I will talk more about that later. I am very disappointed in that. But textile is a lightweight upper. It's not heavy like a leather or a nubuck or anything like that. So this does have me super excited, but I will say the fact that the branding's right there, it's kind of an odd look visually. I don't need to know what that technology is with words and have Nike explain it to me on the shoe. Kind of messes up the clean visuals of the sneaker, but it is just the medial side. The lateral side is clean, but the medial side, I think they were kind of going for an off-white type look, where those off-white sneakers say Zoom, Air, or Flywire on the sneaker itself. They might have been going with that look kind of here on the KD12, but to me, it just looks a little cheap and tacky compared to the off-white stuff. Now, the second thing that I noticed about the KD12 was the cushioning system. As you can see in the forefoot, there is Nike Zoom Air branding there, but it's wrapped entirely in this TPU plastic midsole that I'm honestly not a huge fan of. If you remember the KD5 Elite, the heel had a huge, large Zoom Air unit, but you couldn't really feel it because it was wrapped in this really hard, rigid, stiff, and very structured TPU wrap that just isn't as comfortable as something like a Phylon carrier or a Phylight carrier. What's used on the KD12 looks a little bit more pliable than what was in the KD5, but I'm not a huge fan of this type of setup. It's a little too stiff for me. It doesn't let Zoom, in my opinion, do what it's fully capable of doing. And it could also add unnecessary weight to the sneaker itself. And that's what I was talking about earlier. The top of the KD12 looks very light, but the bottom looks kind of heavy. And that's kind of a theme we see with a lot of sneakers these days. I'm not a huge fan of it, but who knows? The Zoom could be awesome. I do think it's full length. That's the word on the street. And we all know full length Zoom is the business. You guys heard me talk about that many times before, so I am excited about that. I'm just not excited about the carrier that full-length zoom is being carried in. Now, as for the materials, like I talked about earlier, it looks like Nike's using a textile mesh upper, which is great. I like those type of materials. However, if you look at the box of the KD12 and its suggested retail price of $150, that is exactly the same price as the KD11s, which have Flyknit. That to me just makes no sense whatsoever, because if you look at it from this point of view, you have a sneaker over here that has Flyknit and Zoom, and then you have a sneaker over here that doesn't have Flyknit, but it does have Zoom. Those two sneakers should not cost the same, in my opinion. However, we are seeing the same exact price on both of those sneakers. I thought the KD11 should have had a price cut, in my opinion, maybe just $10, even $5. It just doesn't make sense to me. Nike should value Flyknit a little bit more. And even though the Flyknit in the KD11 wasn't as good as it could be, it wasn't the best version of Flyknit, that technology is still going to cost more or be valued more than just a textile mesh upper. So why these two sneakers cost exactly the same, I'm not really too sure, but I would have made these a little bit cheaper, the KD12s, but that's just me. Another thing that I noticed about the KD12 is a big one. Obviously, it's a high top sneaker, which is a first in the KD line since the KD5, which is kind of ironic because we just talked about that sneaker. But the KD12 is a high top, so that should offer some more support than we're used to in the KD signature line. Now, I think Nike's going to have us sitting a little bit lower than we would in the KD11 with the 12, because if you take a look at the midsole overall, it kind of wraps up over the materials on the upper, and that could make us sit a little bit lower in the sneaker itself and use those sidewalls as extra support. Now, as for the KD12 overall as a whole, visually and aesthetically, there's not much to like here. I think it's a pretty basic looking sneaker, especially in this black and white colorway, but the Nerf Light colorway that KD shared on his Instagram does make the KD12 look a lot better than this black and white colorway. So that's a good sign. Hopefully Nike and Kevin Durant come out with some fire colorways. Hopefully this is a Nerf collaboration, because it's time to bring that one back, in my opinion. But overall, I think it's just a basic looking sneaker. I am excited about it because it is a high top and it uses full length zoom. I haven't played in a KD sneaker in a while because I feel like the KD11 and the KD10 just wasn't that much different from the KD9 for me to cop a pair. I mean, it was essentially the same sneaker with a couple of tweaks. The KD11 did use React foam, but I'm not a huge fan of that anyway, so I just decided to pass on them. The KD12, I'm probably gonna pick these up because I am interested how a high top KD sneaker will perform, because again, it's been a while since we got a high top KD sneaker. So there you guys have it. Those are my overall thoughts on the Nike KD12. These are rumored to release on April 7th for $150. So let me know in the comment section below whether or not you plan on picking up a pair of these for yourself. What do you like about them? What do you don't like about them? Do you think they're gonna be a good performer? I love to chop it up with you guys, so go ahead, drop a comment, drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. My name's Aaron. It's been great having you. Catch you in the next one. Peace.